push record. Okay, there we go. So how do I tell if two lines are parallel? Well, I find their slopes and I find their y-intercepts. If the slopes are the same and the y-intercepts are different, they're parallel. If the slopes are the same and the y-intercepts are the same, they're the same line. You can't be parallel to yourself, not parallel. Oh, there we go. And then if the slopes are the same, if the slopes are different, they're totally not parallel at all. Okay, so we're going to use those. Sorry, lots of people are now coming in 10 minutes late. We're going to use those concepts to tell if lines are parallel or not. So without graphing, so we're not going to graph them. We're just going to tell whether the graphs of each pair of equations are parallel or not. So I need to find my slope and my y-intercept. Luckily, the first line is already solved for y, so I can say my slope for this line, line A, or line, let's call one of them line A and one of them line B. So let's call this one line A and this one line B. And then when I write this, I can say the slope of line A, little sub A, equals 2. And the y-intercept of line A is -1. Are we okay with that? Enter. And then for the second equation, we're going to have to solve for y, of course, because it's not solved for y. So I'm going to add 4x. So I get 2y equals 4x plus 7, divide by 2, y equals 2x plus 7 halves. And then the slope of line B is 2, and the y-intercept of line B is 7 halves. So my slopes are the same. See, slope 2, and my y-intercepts are different. So my lines are parallel. And I can just put, okay, maybe I can't put. Yes, they are parallel. And I'm not spelling out parallel. I'm just going to use the parallel symbol. Okay, is there any questions so far? Are we okay? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Sorry, I wish they could do thumbs down here. That would be really nice.
What's that word at the end?
The two long lines?
The between the two long lines and yes, what is that?
Yes, they are parallel.
Oh, got it. They are. Okay, got it.
Oh, I don't know why writing was that bad. Sorry. Okay, so if we go to set 2, no one needs to be checked in. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So I've got line A and I've got line B. So this one I actually have to solve for both of them. Different problem. So y plus 8 equals -6x. Subtract 8. Y equals 6x minus 8. So slope of line A is 6. And y-intercept of line A is -8. And then we've got, let's see, -2x plus y equals 5. So add 2x. Y equals 2x plus 5. Slope of line B equals 2. Y-intercept of line B is 5. And since my slopes are definitely not the same, we've got a 6 and a 2, not parallel. Okay. Questions? Are you guys okay with this? I don't know. We're going to find out now. So we got 2 problems for you to find out. Tell me if they're parallel or not. That's it. Parallel or not. Forgot about this little negative sign right here. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to kind of move over here because there's need to be some work done on both of them. So if I do the first line, A and B, I've got y plus 9 equals 3x. Subtract 9, y equals 3x minus 9. Remember, it's y equals mx plus b, where m is my slope and b is my y-intercept. Sorry, I should have went over that first. So my slope is... slope of line A is 3, and the y-intercept of line A is negative 9. Okay, and then for the second line, 3x minus y equals negative 2. I'm going to subtract 3x, and I get negative y equals negative 3x minus 2. Divide by negative 1, y equals 3x plus 2. So the slope of line B is 3, and the y-intercept of line B is 2. So my slopes are the same, and my y-intercepts are different. So yes, they are parallel. Okay? So on the second set, I hope that if you got it incorrect, that you find out what your problem is. If you can't see what was wrong, please make sure you ask me, okay? So for line A, we're going to have line A and line B again. I've got y equals negative 7x minus 9. They're already parallel. It's already solved for y. So slope of line A is going to be negative 7. And my y-intercept of line A is going to equal negative 9. Okay. So for line B, I have negative 3y equals 21x plus 7. Divide by negative 3. Y equals negative 7x minus 7/3. So the slope of line B is negative 7. And the y-intercept of line B is negative 7/3. So again, my slopes are the same, and my y-intercepts are different. So again, these ones are also parallel. Is there any questions? Make sure that we're putting them in slope-intercept form first before we do any of this. Is that okay? Any questions? Okay. All right, so we're going to go on to the second page here. We're going to write the equation of line containing the specified point and parallel to the indicated line. So I need an equation of a line that goes through this point. It's going to go through this point that they've given me and is parallel to this line. Okay, so if it's parallel, that means it needs to have the same slope. So that means I'll have a point and a slope. So I'm going to use point slope form, which says, no parenthesis. It just says y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, we did that last class. So first I need to find the slope of my equation. So which means I need to solve for x first. So if I subtract x from both sides, I get y equals negative x plus 7. So the slope that I have to use equals negative 1. So now I've got my slope, and I have my point, and I'm going to put that into point slope form. So point slope form says, here's, here's x1 and here's y1, and then my slope. So I'm just going to just like I did last time, right? I'm going to take those points out, y1, m, and x1, and substitute it back in. So I get y minus 2 equals negative 1 times x plus 3. Okay, And I'm gonna write the equation in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to distribute, so I get y minus 2 equals negative x minus 3, and then add 2 to both sides, and y equals negative x minus 1. So this line is parallel to this line, but it goes through this point, okay? I'm going to go over it again. Is there any questions so far? Sorry. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do the same thing again. I have to find the slope. I want to write the equation of a line that goes through this point. Oh, so not good. Through this point, right? And is parallel to this line. So if it's parallel to that line, it means it has the same slope because they're parallel. So I need to solve for y first. So minus 5x minus 5x gives me 2y equals plus 6. Divide by 2. Ooh, y equals negative 5 halves x plus 6. So my slope is negative 5 halves. So now I have my slope. And I have my point, and I'm going to use point slope form to find the equation of my line. So I get y minus 0 equals negative 5 halves times x plus 7. And now if I'm going to write it into point slope form, slope-intercept form, I get y equals negative 5 halves x minus 35 halves. Done. Is there any questions? You guys are very quiet on this Monday morning. Okay, we're going to have you try it now. We've got 4 problems to work on. We're going to do them 2 at a time. So let's go ahead and do... So... most people that were in the chat did really good. There was like 1 or 2 that were slightly off, and I'm not sure. I think I might have figured it out, but I'm not sure. So we're just going to do it, and hopefully we can figure it out together what happened. So I'm going to write down point slope form again over here so we have it. So we've got y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then the first thing I have to do is find the slope. So I'm going to add 2y to both sides. And I'm also, at the same time, I'm going to subtract 3. Okay? So that gives me 2y equals x minus 3. Divide by 2. So x is going to equal 1 half x minus 3 halves. So the slope of this line, equals 1 half. So then I'm going to use point slope form. So I'm going to put it in here, and here are my points. So I've got y minus 5 equals 1 half times x minus 2. So I kind of want to pause for a second because I think this might, and I might be totally wrong. I just want you to know this, so I might be wrong, okay? But I'm thinking that because I put plus 3 here, people are doing plus always, but it's a plus 3 here because my point is a minus 3, and when I do minus a minus, I get a plus when I put it in, if you don't remember that from last time. And so I don't know if you were just, some people are just saying, oh, the x is always just going to be plus. Well, no, it's not. It says minus here. So depending on what the sign of my x coordinate is going to depend on if it's a minus or a plus once I plug it into point slope form. So because, because this is a positive 2, when I put it into point slope form, it's going to be subtract 2. So I don't know if that's the problem because I can't see your work. So I'm just kind of trying to figure it out at the same time. So if that's the issue, I hope that kind of straightens that out. It's whatever, if my point if my coordinate is a negative, when I put it into my point slope form, minus a minus makes a plus. So I would have a plus here, but because it's a positive, when I put it in there, it's negative 2. I hope that helps a little bit. So then I'm going to distribute it out, and I get y minus 5 equals 1/2 x minus 1. And then I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I get y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Okay, questions on that? Okay. And then on the second one, we're going to do the same thing. Solve for y. So I'm going to add 5y. And also at the same time, I'm going to subtract 1. So I get 5y equals x minus 1, divide by 5. And y equals 1/5 x minus 1/5. Sorry, I keep reading the chat. I'm just trying to figure out what people are putting in there. Sorry. So my slope equals 1/5. So I'm going to put it into point slope form, which says, let's see, I can do it here. Y minus a minus is plus 6 equals 1/5 times x minus 1. So I distribute and I get y plus 6 equals 1/5 x minus 1/5. Subtract 6, subtract 6. Y equals 1/5 x minus 31/5. So any questions? Okay, so I'm going to chat with somebody while you guys work on the second two. So here's the... Okay, so luckily both these are already in slope-intercept form, the lines. So I just have to find my slope. So m equals 4. So I have my slope and I have my point. And let's rewrite out point slope form so we can see it. So I've got y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I've got, here we go, y minus a minus 5 is plus 5 equals 4 times x minus 0. So distribute, and I get y plus 5 equals 4x equals 4x, okay? Then subtract 5. So y equals 4x minus 5. Okay. And then this one's already in slope-intercept form. So m equals 1. So I got my slope and I have my point. So I've got y minus 2 equals 1 times x minus 0. So I get y minus 2 equals x, add 2, y equals x plus 2. Oh, what is this equation called? It's called point slope form, honey. Point slope form. Because I can use a point and a slope. Okay, awesome. Okay, you guys ready? We're going to go okay, so that's all of parallel. That's how we work it with parallel lines. Now we're going to go to perpendicular lines, and we're going to start out with vocabulary again. Lines that cross. So perpendicular lines are lines that cross at a 90-degree angle. Okay? Or a right angle, however you want to say it. I don't care. Whichever's fine. And then two lines are perpendicular. Perpendicular. And then this is a symbol for perpendicular, by the way. So it's an upside down T. So if you're writing it instead of typing it, you can't really type it into the chat box. But if you're writing it on homework or anything, that's what you'll write. And you'll notice that I will do that. Instead of spelling out the word perpendicular, I'll do the symbol for it from now on, okay? So if and only if their slopes are negative reciprocals. Okay, so they have to be the negative reciprocals of each other. So who knows what the word reciprocal means? Or who can tell me what the word reciprocal means? No, I think you're right in how you said it. I think what I think you're thinking is this what you're thinking this way? You can see my picture when I take the fraction, right? So a reciprocal is when I take a fraction, right, and I flip it. So if my fraction, like we have an example here. I'm going to just zoom in on the picture here for a second. We have a picture here, a graph here. And you can tell it's at 90 degrees right here. It says it's at 90 degrees. But my slope of one line is 2/3. And my slope of the nether line is -2/3. So reciprocal is where I take that fraction of 2/3 and I flip it upside down. And it becomes 3/2. Okay? So 2/3 becomes 3/2. And then the other part of the definition says it's negative. So if my original slope, I'm going to write this out. If my original slope of line 1 was 2/3, the slope of the perpendicular line should be 3/2, and then the negative of that. So if my original slope is positive, let's go ahead and give another example here. So if my slope of my line is, say slope of line 2 is negative, let's just say -5. There we go. -5/1. And let's just turn it into a fraction, right? Because in order for us to find the reciprocal, it needs to be as a fraction. So we're going to go ahead and make it a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. Okay? And so the slope of my perpendicular line would be +1/5. So they have to be opposite signs. And you can, if you look at the graph, it kind of makes sense. Because look, this graph, this slope is positive. From left to right, it's going up. In order for it to be perpendicular, the other line has to go in the other direction. It has to go negative. So one of the lines has to be positive. One of the slopes has to be positive, and one of the slopes have to be negative in order for them to be perpendicular. So that's why the definition is the negative reciprocal. And if you look at the graph, it kind of makes sense. Well, one has to be positive and one has to be, in order to make that 90-degree angle, one has to be negative. Negative. The slope has to be negative. So I hope that helps out a little bit with the thought of negative reciprocals. So again, we're going to do exactly the same thing that we just got done doing for parallel. First, we're going to look at two equations and tell if they're perpendicular or not, just by looking at their slopes. And notice it doesn't say anything about their y-intercepts. Y-intercept doesn't matter. They can have exactly the same y-intercept and still be perpendicular as long as their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. The slopes, that's the only thing, the y-intercepts don't matter. The only thing that matters is the slope. It has to have that negative reciprocality, I guess. I just made up a word. Okay, so the only thing we need to find for these ones are the slopes. So for line A, we're going to do, again, I'm going to do line A and line B just because it's easier. So line A is f of x equals 3x plus 1. It's already in slope-intercept form, so I just have to say slope of line A is 3. Okay? And then we're going to find slope of line B. So B is 6x plus 2y equals 5. So subtract 6. And I've got 2y equals, I am so going to run out of room, minus 6x plus 5. Divide by 2. So y is going to equal negative 3x plus 5 halves. So the slope of line B is negative 3. Well, are those perpendicular is my question for you guys. Yes or no? Type it in the chat box. Are those two lines perpendicular? It's either a yes or no question. Good, Kim. Good, Jalen. Nice, Andy. Okay, 4 out of the 19 of you have answered. It shouldn't take you that long to decide yes or no, or type a yes or no. I did all the work. You just tell me the final answer. Okay. Okay, so half of you are right and half of you are wrong. I'm just going to say that. Yes, they are negatives. One's negative, one's positive. That's awesome. That part, great. The other part is they have to be what's of each other. They have to be a reciprocal. And what does reciprocal mean? It means I'm going to take the fraction and I'm going to do what to it? Flip it. So if I take my slope and I write my slope as a fraction, that means this is 3 over 1. So if it's supposed to be perpendicular, if I have the slope that's perpendicular to this line, according to my definition, it would have to be negative 1 over 3. Is that what this slope is? Negative 1 over 3? No. So are they perpendicular? No. Right? Yeah. Does that make sense for those of you guys who said yes, that they were? Does that make sense? Yes, one needs to be positive, one needs to be negative, but it also has to meet the qualification that it's also the reciprocal of each other. Yep. Does that, okay? Okay. So next one, same thing. I have line A and line B. So line A is y equals negative x plus 7, where my slope is negative 1. And then we have line B, which is f of x, or another word for y, right? F of x equals x plus 3, where my slope equals 1. Are they, okay, ready? All of you guys, all 19 of you, get ready, put an answer in. Are they perpendicular or not? Okay, Hunter. There'll be the video you can watch for tomorrow. Oh. Okay. Good, you guys. These are perpendicular. And why are they perpendicular? Because if I was to write this as a fraction, it'd be negative 1 over 1, right? And if I flip 1 over 1, it becomes what? 1 over 1. So that means the perpendicular, if I was supposed to find the line that's perpendicular to this, the slope that's perpendicular would be positive 1 over 1, which equals 1. 1's the only one that I can do positive 1 and negative 1, and it be a reciprocal. Any other number, it would be no. Okay, so this one's perpendicular. Lovely. Is that okay? There's one person that only one person this time. JJ. Okay, so here we. Okay, so here we go. Part again, it's just like the first part we did. Only this time I don't want a line that's parallel. I want a line that is perpendicular, right? So again, at the end, I'm going to use point slope form. I've been writing this all day. Hopefully you guys will learn this. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, right? I'm going to use that again. So I need to find the slope of the line that's perpendicular to this line. So again, I want to solve for y first. So I'm going to subtract x. And I get negative 2y equals negative x plus 3. Divide by negative 2. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. So the slope of my line is negative 1/2. Well, the slope of the... Yes, go ahead.
Wouldn't it be positive because you're dividing negative 1 by negative 2?
Oh, it is a negative 1. Thank you. Thank you. Positive 1/2. I didn't write the negative down the second time. Sorry. Nice. So what would the slope of the perpendicular line be? Erase that what you guys are thinking. Beautiful. Okay. So if my slope is 1/2 and I want it to be perpendicular, what would the slope be? Yes, Kim. Yes, Noe. Good job, you guys, right? I take the... Everyone is like super late today. Okay, I'm going to take the reciprocal, right? The reciprocal of 1 over 2 is 2 over 1 or 2, and then I change the sign. So my slope would be negative 2. And then I am going to use my point and my perpendicular slope this time and write the equation of a line. So I've got, let's see, what do I have? It's a good question. Let's see, y, and let's try and write with a pen. Here we go. So y plus 5 equals negative 2 times x plus 2, distribute. Y plus 5 equals negative 2x minus 4. So minus 5 minus 5. Y equals negative 2x minus 9. Whew. Beautiful. Did everyone wake up like an hour late today? Not everyone, because a lot of you were on time today. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for number 2. I'm going to find this the equation of my line, which is already in slope-intercept form. Yay! So it says y equals 4x plus 3. So the slope of my line is 4. What's the slope of my perpendicular line going to be? Go ahead and put it in the chat box, please. Yes, yes. Yes. remember, I need to take the reciprocal. So how do I put slope? Remember, slope needs to be in fraction form. So it's not just 4, it's what? 4 over 1. So the slope is really 4 over 1. And then I take the reciprocal of that, which, yes, good, which is negative 1 over 4. Beautiful. Okay, and then I have my point, and I have my slope, and I'm going to write the equation of the line that's perpendicular. So I've got y plus 7 equals negative 1/4 times x minus 0. So y plus 7 equals x minus 7. Y equals negative 1/4 x minus 7. Okay, questions? We okay so far? Awesome. So let me do it this way so you guys can try and see all the page. Okay, I want you to go ahead. Let's go ahead and do these problems. So I need to find the slope of my line. So minus 5x. So I get 4y equals negative 5x plus 1. Divide by 4. Y equals negative 5/4 x plus 1/4. So the slope of my line is negative 5/4. The slope of the line, I'm going to slide this up, sorry. Slope of my line that's perpendicular is 4 over 5. Okay, those of you that put that in the chat, most of you got that right. Good job. Okay, so then I'm going to put it into my point slope form. So I get, let's see, what do I get? I get y minus 0 equals 4 over 5 times x minus 6. Sorry, I should have written it over a little bit. So then I get y equals 4/5 x minus 24/5. Done. Remember, I have to find the reciprocal, so I'm... Thank you. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but that was a funny message. Okay, so remember, I'm finding the perpendicular, so I need to find the negative reciprocal, not the parallel line. But that was good. Okay. So for the second one, I'm going to subtract x. Subtract x. So I get y equals negative x plus 6. So my slope is negative 1. The slope of my perpendicular line is positive 1. So then I'm going to get, let's see, what am I going to get? Y minus 2 equals 1 times x plus 4. Distribute. Y minus 2 equals x plus 4. Add 2. Y equals x plus 6. Okay, so any questions? So remember, if I'm looking for parallel, I use the same slope. If I'm looking for perpendicular, I use the negative reciprocal slope. Okay, so we've got two more problems. So I need to find the slope of my line. So I'm going to subtract 4x. So I get negative y equals negative 4x plus 3. Divide by negative 1. So y equals 4x minus 3. So the slope of my line is 4, but I don't want it to be parallel. I want it to be perpendicular. So I need the slope of the line, the perpendicular slope, which is the negative reciprocal, which would be negative 1/4. So I'm going to use that slope. And the point that they gave me, sorry, I was reading someone's answer. So then I've got y minus 6 equals negative 1/4 times x plus 5. So then I get y minus 6 equals negative 1/4 x minus 5/4. I'm going to add 6. So I'm going to add 6 times 4 is 24. No. Yes. Wow. 24/4. Okay. And then I get y equals negative 1/4 x plus 19/4. Nice job. Okay, it's already in slope-intercept form. My slope is 2. The slope of my perpendicular line is the negative reciprocal, right? So that would be negative 1/2. So then I've got, let's see, what do I have? Y minus 6 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 0. Distribute y minus 6 equals negative 1/2 x. Add 6. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 6. Beautiful. Okay. So there was a few incorrect answers in the chat box. If you're not sure what you did wrong, please let me know, and we can work through it and find out what happened. Some, I think it was just a mistake on the writing, on the slope. But it looks like most of the way you're doing it correct. It's just figuring out which slope to use, either the parallel slope or the perpendicular slope. The homework today is doing exactly the same thing. It's in Delta Math. You have to decide if the lines are parallel or perpendicular, 2 lines of parallel or perpendicular, and then you need to find a line that's either parallel or perpendicular. And that one you need to be careful on. Make sure you're reading the directions to know if they want it, to know if they want the line to be parallel or if they want the line to be perpendicular. So make sure you read the directions very carefully on that one. And I think that's done on the record.